Hello. This is meant to be a functional test demonstration, and what I'm going to demonstrate is that this setup is completely working. What I have is a this is an LCD. This is from DF Robot. It's one of the Gravity blue screens, and this is a little keypad matrix keypad I got. It's a little keypad membrane, ESP32-S3. This is a little power board that I kind of put together. On here, I have a 3.3 volt buck converter, which I bought from Adafruit. Then I have a GPI expander that I bought from Adafruit as well. And what it does is I'm using two I2C. I'm just using a I2C line, just two wires from this ESP32. Now, this is a microcontroller, so I wrote the code that goes inside of it. But anyway, I'm saying command and I'm talking to this device, to control these GPIOs on this relay board, and I'm using it to talk to the display. So this little board over here, this is something all I did was I configured it to where these outputs they're going to it's all the outputs, all these they're making it a common connection. These are all just a common connection. So I just have one wire going to the voltmeter, one wire. That's it. And I'll show you the wiring diagram later so you know what I've done, but I'm going to go ahead and show you what this board is. This is all this is a low voltage divider, and it's to prove my concept that I can cycle through and take measurements. That's all I'm trying to prove is that concept. So I'll go ahead and I'll get started. I'll just go ahead and turn this on, and first thing I have to do is I have to take this out of here so I can measure these points, so I can show you the measurement, the voltages as I'm measuring these. So I'll go ahead and take these leads out, and I'll show you that I'm measuring these points. So all I do, I mean, everything turned on, but really I'm counting on the 5 volts coming onto this board, and I'm going to show you that I'm measuring it. So I'll go from ground to the first point, and that should be 5 volts. There's 5.26 volts. The second point is 4.5 volts. The third point is 3.75 volts. Fourth point, 3.0 volts. Fifth point is, I'm sorry, it's 1, 2, 3. This is the fourth point is 2.25 volts. The next one is 1.49. The last point is should be 0.75 volts. And then, of course, the next one will be ground. So I'm just showing you, what this board is. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and make my connection so I can do my first test. I'm going to show you that I'm working. I'm going to explain, I'm going to give you a diagram of how I'm measuring it and let you know, show you why I'm doing this. But I'll go ahead and turn this off. I'll stop the video, and then I'll reconnect everything the way it needs to for the first test, and I'll come right back. And this is so I can keep the video as short as possible. Okay, so I'm back. I've made my connections over here. And the connections are basically what I'm doing with this is I have a diagram, and my diagram, I have a, I have, I'm using test point 1, test point 2, test point 3, and test point 5 as a measurement point. But for the black lead, I have for the first measurement, it's going to be from test point 1 to test point 4. The second measurement is from test point 2 to ground. The third measurement is from test point 3 to ground. The fourth measurement is test point 5 to test point 6. And you can see my expected results. And then I'm going to give you my measured results, and I'm going to show you that as I run through this test. The first thing I'll do, I'll turn it on. I have to select the A menu, which is right here. I have 4 options I can go through, and the first one is 1. So the first one is, you can see I have 2.20 volts. I was expecting 2.25. The second one is 3.67 volts. I was expecting 3.75 volts. The third one is 2.93 volts. I was expecting 3 volts. The fourth one is 0.73 volts, and I was expecting 0.75 volts. You can go back through these. You can see that it just changes between them. So that's my measurement points. You can also see that it's toggling the relays. So the first one is that relay and that relay. That's the next two. That's the next two relays, and that's the next two relays. So I'm using four different grounds with four different positive, for measurement points. And I shouldn't say. I should say four different negative lead points, measurement points, with four different positive measurement points. The next one I'm going to show you is where I just use one common ground measurement point for the negative lead, one common negative lead, and then the other four measurement points. I'll go ahead and turn this video off and reconnect everything the way it needs to be and come back and I'll show you that. Okay, for this next test, what I'm going to do is what I'm using now is just one ground. You can see these others are connected. I'm using one ground point. The software is selecting to use this relay as the common negative lead test point. And the other ones are over here. These four, and it's going to be test point 1, 2, 3, and 4. And actually, I'm using test point 2, 4, 5, and 6 is what I'm using for this one. And you can see over here where I've got these. So it'll be 2, 4, 5, and 6. And I have my expected voltages here. So I'll go ahead and start this up and show you where I'm at. And with this one, I have to use the common test point for ground. So I'll select B. And I'll select 1. You can see it selects the 8th relay for the ground at this point. For the negative lead, negative test point, the common test point, which just happens to be ground on this one. But my measurement is 3.67 volts. I'm expecting 3.75. The next one is 2.20. I'm expecting 2.24. The next one is 1.48 or 1.46. I was expecting 1.49. The next one is 0.73, and I was expecting 0.75. The difference in measurements and voltages can probably, it might be going through the relay. It might be, the wiring, but, you can do a calibration for that and figure out, what the factor of the difference is. And you should know what your measurement's going to be. But I need to find out exactly what's going on and why some of the voltages, like this first one up here, is a lot less than I expect. 3.67. It's constant. It keeps showing 3.67, but I need to find out why. It's probably due to wiring, maybe loose wiring, maybe a cold solder over here, or maybe maybe it's the relay itself. But I'll have to figure that out. And what I'm going to do next for this video, though, is I'm going to show you the up close video of this display screen right here, so you can see it actually cycling through things. And I'll show you the different menu options that it has when it boots up, what you can do with it, and things like that. So I'll go ahead and show that to you next. Okay, so the best way I've figured out how to do this is I'm going to have to hold my phone over this thing and make a recording so you can actually see the display as it's moving around and seeing what it says. So I'll go ahead and I'll turn it off first so you can see that it boots up. So it has a little boot up menu that it goes through, and you can do the A for the floating. And you have, those options you can use for the floating. And I'll go ahead and go through those. And see, the reason you're getting 0 volts on some of these is because the ground point is not connected on all of these. I left it with, we're supposed to have a common ground. So the other 4 relays, or the other 3 relays where they're expecting a ground, it's showing 0 volts because they're not connected. So another thing I'll show you as I'm going through this is I can turn them all off. I turn them, go back through them again. And I can go back to the main menu if I want. But if I press a button that doesn't, like I can press A, it says not valid. I can press B, not valid. None of these are going to be valid if they're not something within this menu selection. So it has to be something in which I've selected. So now I'll go back to the common, and I'll do where it's a common one. Now all the voltage will work. Now they'll all show up because I'm using one common for the negative lead, which turns out to be ground. in this case. And again, if I select any of these others, it's invalid. Anything that's not, a menu option that I can select right now, it's invalid. If I select that, it turns them all off. I can go back to here, see it's still invalid. I can go back to two, and now if I press that, I can go back to the menu. And that's basically it. So that's my menu options. It's working, and I'll show you the code next. I'll give you the code for this, and not only the code, but I'll show you that it's working by. I'll upload the code to this, and then show you that this is actually the code that it's using.